Welcome to today's program, our viewers. And on our segment, we've got our guest, Marshall. Marshall, you're welcome to today's program.
Thank you very much. And how are you, viewers?
Okay, today we want to look at a subject that is called stress. My guest, in your own understanding, at least give us some hints, or rather a definition for today's subject.
Well, in looking at stress, stress can simply be defined as the way the body reacts to challenges. And these challenges can be physical
Okay.
and they can be emotional. But all in all, the way our bodies react to these challenges is what is termed as stress.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, our country today, as we all know, we've got a disease that is called COVID-19. So, looking at this, do you think people are stressed with this pandemic or what?
Well, I must be quick to mention that not only our country, but the world at large. And there is fewer jobs for the people because of this pandemic. And people are struggling. And as such, from what we said, because stress is about the challenges that we face. So people are overburdened with these challenges, and as such, a lot of people are stressed, not only in workplaces, but in homes, as couples, and students. Like, everyone is stressed because we are living in a generation where things are not making much sense.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that, yes. But again, I would love to ask you this question, looking at what you have said. So, how can we throw stress away? Since you've said the world at large is facing this tragedy, so how can we throw stress away?
Well, the quickest response that I would give, number one, each one of us needs to understand that everything that we are going through will pass.
Okay.
No situation is permanent. When people understand that principle, it becomes very easy for them to do away with stress. There are many things that we can do apart from living within the time. We can also begin to understand and appreciate what we have and not what we wish we would have. A certain preacher said, you know you are ready for marriage if you look at the life of the partner that you are dating and you identify a certain problem, and then you are able to marry that person with that same problem, then you know you love them. So it is about identification. It's about getting to believe that this is what I have. Contentment is about knowing that this is what I have for now. And when we do that, then we will be able to stand on the balance. You see, I don't know if you've watched that movie called The Three Idiots. In The Three Idiots,
Yeah.
the guy said, oh, this heart gets scared easily. So learn to say, all is well.
Okay.
And when you watch The Lion King, that cartoon, it is Hakuna Matata, which means no worry for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And the question that you might ask maybe, Gloria, is that, does that mean that there is no stress?
That's where I was even going.
Yeah, so stress is going to be there. But these are words of comfort and hope. These are words that throw stress away. They give you hope to say, okay, no situation, no condition is permanent. Evidently, tomorrow, things will be better.
Thank you so much, our guest. Another question is, you yourself, do you feel stressed? Because in your explanation, I heard you saying like what we have to know and what we have to do is that we are not supposed to rely on things that do not belong to us.
Yes.
That's what you said. So I wanted to ask you this question. do you feel stressed? And how is it possible that when you have something, you are not supposed to rely on it when you actually have that thing as yours?
Well, to answer your question, I think I've been more stressed time and again. I've been stressed before, and I do go through stress because I'm a human being. And probably what helps me are the things that I listed earlier on. Sometimes I do take a walk. Sometimes I do laugh loudly or by myself to relieve the stress. But most importantly, I do base my cares and my troubles, my stress on the principles of God. You see, Christ said in worrying, who would improve his life? In worrying about today, can you improve your life? Like, who would add some years to their lives in getting worried? So evidently what troubles us today won't even trouble us tomorrow, or won't trouble us that much tomorrow. The pressures that we had yesterday are not the pressures that we are going through today.
Okay. Well, I've heard what you have said, and again, you are coming out so well, and what you're saying is making sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so I may ask you, is it possible to identify things that gives us stress? Or sometimes you can just feel stress but not knowing what's causing you to feel in that way. Is it possible?
Well, I would say it is possible to identify what is stressing you. Actually, before you deal with stress, you need to identify that which is stressing you. It is very cardinal and very important. So you need to identify, where is this stress coming from? What is stressing me? If it is your friends, if it is your work, if it is churchmates, what is it that is really stressing you? So first you identify, then you know how to deal with the stress. You can't deal with stress without knowing where it is coming from.
Well, because sometimes I hear things like you know, you are just becoming something else, not yourself. You do think a lot, but you don't know what's causing that.
Yeah, I would say it is very important,
So
Gloria.
I really wanted you to help us in those lines, because there are people that suffer from what I said, where
Okay.
you don't know what's giving you the stress.
Yeah.
You actually don't even know, but you are just not yourself.
Yes.
You fail to identify the things that gives you stress. So how can you help those that do go through those things?
Yeah, so basically we've got what is called the subconscious. And sometimes things might be eating you up without even you knowing.
Okay.
Okay? All that is stress. But the best thing that we can do, like you've asked Gloria, the best thing to do is to find a journal, find a book where you write. Because in writing, you will identify your true feelings. You will definitely identify where that stress is coming from.
Okay.
So learn to write. Find a journal, write. When you're alone, you start thinking. Evidently, somewhere it will show you that this stress that you are having is coming from this place or this person.
What is it that you're supposed to write?
How you're feeling. Identification. You see, when you're stressed, we said it is your body's reaction towards probably something new, okay? Something that you're not comfortable with. So during that period, write down, what is it that is giving me this pressure? You get the point? Something is on your mind. Something is not letting you go. You are stressed. So in that case, when you write, you will know how to deal with it.
Okay. So when you say when you write, you know how to deal with it. So could there be a quickest way of getting away the stress?
From what I said, I will repeat myself. The quickest way is to identify that no condition and no situation is permanent. Is to identify that this too will pass.
Okay, thank you so much. Another one is coming for you.
Okay.
Our guest. So, okay, I've heard in your explanations where you say most of the times you read, you rely on God's word. Whenever you feel you're stressed, whenever you feel things are not okay, you run to the Bible, where you read some scriptures, you study. You said you should be reading a lot of books and all that. So, what 2 Bible verses would you recommend, or just anything to do with stress that is in line with God?
Yeah, well, I would recommend a verse from from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 17 and 18.
You said Habakkuk?
Habakkuk 3, verse 17 and 18.
Okay.
There Paul talks about how though the fig tree may not blossom and things are not making sense in your life,
Still
you rejoice in the Lord. Why? Because the Lord is your salvation. He is there with you even when you're going through that stress.
Okay.
Yeah, I would also talk about the words of Christ, who talked about the birds of the air. They don't do nothing, but God feeds them. So the Lord is there for us. And what is stressing us, we should understand that the best thing to do is to take it to the Lord in prayer.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, our guest. Yeah, today we were looking at the subject called stress, and we had our guest, Marshall Ishak Musumali here, who has explained to us a lot of things on how we can do away with stress and other things that may come in our lives. You know, the life that we are living today, it's full of tragedies. So again, he said, one thing that I loved in his explanation is that he said you have to run to God.
Yes.
So whenever things are not okay in your life, don't rely on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go to Christ. You explain everything to him. You give him all the burdens. He's going to carry them because he carried the weight of the world, on the shoulders. So even your worries, whatever that you may call them, Christ is there to carry those things for you. So we all have to rely on God, who is our creator. And one thing that you have to do, and one thing that you have to know in life, is that I think most of the things that gives us stress, according to what he was explaining here, because I followed him so closely, we like relying on things that do not belong to us. So, we just love that kind of life that we cannot even lead. So in life, it's good to be who you are. It's good to be humble in life. It's good to be down to earth. You will lose nothing. Be content with what you have at that particular time. The Lord is going to raise you up at his own time. Thank you so very much, our viewers today. We love you so very much, and please always follow us on our page. We love you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.